Hey YouTube, so this is a book review. I read this book on Kindle, so I don't have it. I read Pure by Jennifer L Armentrout, or Trot, or something. I don't know. I don't know how to actually pronounce her name. I just know I read Pure. So I read that, and yeah. I read it slowly. I don't know. The first part of the book is actually really hard to get into because it's a very slow book, and I started it actually over the summer. I just hadn't, like, finished it. I stopped about halfway through. I think what happened was, yeah, what happened was September 1st happened, and, well, we all know what came out September 1st. I don't have a review for that yet. I need to reread it, and then review it, and then give you guys a review. I read Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, and, like, several other books that I had to finish, and read and finish. And so, yeah, I didn't finish Pure as quickly as I wanted to. I mean, it's not a hard book to read. I mean, I was like 50% of the way done on Kindle, and I just spent I spent like 2.5 hours maybe, finishing reading it. Again, I don't know why I couldn't finish it. It was just really hard to pick back up for some reason until later. Could be part of the problems. It was on Kindle, and I have a lot of other books. I have physical books that are there, and they're just kind of like glaring at me, and that might be the problem. And I also have a very big TBR list, and I can see my part of my TBR list. The other part is actually on my Kindle. One of the reasons why I'm not buying books next month is because it's Christmas, and I want to give, my mom and my rest of my family something to get me, or a reason to get me something, even though I'm thinking about asking my mom for an essential oils pack instead of the cheapest essential oils pack, which is the Christmas one, but there's like myrrh in it, and frankincense gum resin and myrrh gum resin, and it looks so interesting, and I want to try it out and all that stuff. And the Young Living essential oils, I'm probably going to do a little video of that maybe in December, or maybe on January 1st, I don't know. Sometime I might actually have a customer to buy from me. I might actually be able to make my first buy, because one of my professors, I was telling him about it because it was helping with my allergies, and he actually sounded interested in it. And so, hey, you know what? Natural stuff with college, if you want to actually try and do it, you definitely do a market for it. Anyway, so yeah, Pure happened. I finally finished Pure. Alex is a very interesting character, I think. Once you get past kind of the high school stuff, the romance in Half-Blood was not that bad, but in this one it's kind of like, it's hard to swallow at times, but that's just because it's the second book. It was like that for me. A lot of people compare this to Vampire Academy, and it is like Vampire Academy. If you like Vampire Academy, you're gonna like this book series. It's not exactly the same, but it has a couple of things that are similar, like several things. But there's a lot of things that are different too. It's not the same thing as Vampire Academy, so don't worry. It's also not the same thing as Percy Jackson. It's definitely not the same thing as Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson is a little less hit and miss with people, I think. I mean, I'm going to start reading the Percy Jackson books again, because I read through the first 3 and then I stopped because I was just at a reading slump at the time, and that was like several years ago, and I need to read them. Anyway, so I finished Pure. I said that. And I'm enjoying Seth as a character. At least I'm enjoying him as a character in this book. From what I've gleaned from a lot of people who've read, from what I've gleaned from a lot of people who have read this book, they really do like Seth. And I can see why, because he has that normal bad boy persona who's like, you know, he's the bad boy who really isn't the bad boy kind of thing. It's, damn it. It's like, you know, that whole, you know how feminists like to, grump and grump and grump about, a girl's choice about the bad boy, and girls' attractions towards the bad boy, and then their non-attraction towards the nice guy kind of thing or something. I don't know. It's been quite a while since I tuned out that side of the feminist rhetoric conversation. There's just so much you can take before you check out. But there's Seth is kind of like this bad boy, nice boy, put into one, and so he's like that perfect guy with the edge, but is like, you know, a gentleman or almost a gentleman. And then, of course, you have Aiden, Aiden doesn't have the charm. You see, this is where there's a difference between Vampire Academy and the Covenant Chronicles, I think. The Covenant series or whatever. Aiden does not have the same charm that Dimitri had at all. Nope. No, you can't top Dimitri. Dimitri is Dimitri, and neither of those boys really measure up to Dimitri as a character. You can't measure up to Dimitri as a character. I don't even know how Rochelle Mead came up with Dimitri, because, like, if you read her Bloodline series, like, you like, I could say I like Sydney better than Rose, but I didn't like, I feel bad that I don't remember his name, but I didn't like the love interest that Sydney had quite as much. And I think that's kind of the way here. I prefer Seth over Aiden at this point, mostly because, like, Aiden is just, he's the epitome of Katy Perry's hot and cold. You know, he's like, you're hot, you're cold, you're yes, you know. I mean, it was one of those. It's one of those romances where it's just kind of like, you don't understand the attraction that Alex has towards him, because he is kind of being a douchebag. He is really being a douchebag. It's almost, you know, that whole thing about the friend zone, actually, that this is a really good illustration of this, except look at it from the guy's perspective of being a friend in the friend zone, and not the girl who's friend zoning, and look at kind of how Alex has been friend zoned by Aiden. And there's, of course, a reason for that, and all of that stuff. But the way he friend zones her, it's not even kind of like, I don't know, it's really, it's really kind of almost psychologically abusive, really. And so it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, I'm quite certain she's going to end up with Aiden at the end of the series, but I'm not entirely sure how satisfied I will be when she does. I don't think I'm actually going to like it very much. But we'll find out. I don't know. Aiden might get better in Deity. I have to start Deity. All of the books are on my Kindle. I am not... I don't know. I tried reading the book, the hard copy of the book, and I just ended up selling it because it was just so, it was hard to read through. The Half-Blood, I think the Covenant novels, they're really good Kindle. They're really good for Kindle, I think. They feel like when you're reading them on your Kindle, you can read through them faster. I don't know what it is with the hard copy of the novel, and I kind of feel bad about that because I know on some level, Jennifer L Armentrout, she's kind of like she's a small publisher. She goes through a small publisher, so she's not like going through Penguin or Random House or Del Rey or any of the other guys, or Tor, I guess. Yeah, Tor was Brandon Sanderson and the other people. All of that kind of stuff. I mean, they don't, and Disney has a publishing house too, apparently, because that's where the Percy Jackson books are published. And the Seven Realms novels, which I love the Seven Realms novels. Definitely read those. I'm going to, when I find time, I'm going to reread them and then do a huge series talk on them because they're just so awesome. And this is an author who, one of her series, I actually do not like the first series that she wrote, but Seven Realms novels are awesome. Anyway, back to the Covenant novels. But yeah, Pure is... I would say Pure has what I think I would call second book blues. Cinder, the Lunar Chronicles had the same issue with Scarlet. Scarlet is, a lot of people were saying that it wasn't a strong book because of Scarlet, and I disagree. I actually like Scarlet. I thought it wasn't Scarlet, it was Wolf. Who wasn't the strong love interest, and in my personal opinion, if you're doing fairy tales, you have to have a strong love interest, which I have to work on, because for NaNoWriMo, I'm writing a fairy tale, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like my Beast character, he's strong in some aspects, and then, like, he's strong when it's from my character's point of view, but every time I try to switch to his point of view, and it's third person limited, just so y'all know, so I'm not doing, like, that other kind of point of view switch. But no, I mean, it's so hard to get into, it's hard to get into that. It's part of the reason why I think that's the big issue with Pure, is that in the back of your mind, I mean, I have no doubt about this, unless people who've read the series already, unless I'm completely wrong, and J-Larm, I don't know. Unless Armentrout pulled something very, very big on the entire reading community and made it to where Alex and Aiden did not end up with each other, but Alex ended up with Seth, I'd be very surprised. And no, I wouldn't just be surprised. I would be pleasantly surprised, because that's actually the ship I'm kind of going for, but I would be very shocked. Because, I'm going to say this, there's only one series, at least so far, and I'm kind of hoping this doesn't change, because I actually like them together. There's only one series so far where at the end of book 2, I ended up not liking, no, book 3, I ended up not liking any of the previous love triangle. I didn't like either got the main character with either guy from the previous love triangle. I ended up thinking, yeah, I think they'd be better off as friends. And I ended up liking this completely new character thrown in there, who I was just kind of like, I want the main character to end up with this guy. I want her to end up with this guy. I'm gonna be pissed if they don't end up together. Because, it's it's the Throne of Glass series, that one. So, I mean, trust me, Queen of Shadows made me a very happy camper. That was, again, because that was the, spoilers for Queen of Shadows for those of you who haven't read it yet. Selena does not end up with Kale. But, I mean, that's my thing. It's just kind of like, I didn't know really, that it would, I don't know, I didn't see it coming. I kind of suspected in Heir of Fire. I was thinking, you know what? I think Moss is going to do something that goes against all sorts of young adult tropes, and she did, and I give her props for that, because a lot of young adult authors don't do that, and I'm kind of hoping Jennifer L Armentrout would do that, but I'm not gonna hold my breath for that, because she's taken too much time to establish Aiden as Alex's main love interest, to the point where I think putting Seth in the only reason why Seth seems to exist at this point is to kind of be that foil for her, be the thing that makes her confused and question her love, you know, all of that jazz, the normal teen drama BS that comes with the young adult series. Which, personally, I am going to say this, it kind of detracts from the story right now, the way this love triangle's looking, because I'm just kind of like Aiden detracts from it because he's being Aiden, and then Seth is detracting from it because really all he seemed to do in this book was be the foil for Alex, to divide her heart, so to speak, and make her, have to choose between, or feel like she has to choose between him and Aiden, and which, you know, it's fine, it's a young adult trope, and it works, it gets people reading your books, but, what would really keep people reading your books is to do the unexpected, and while you're setting up for this, slowly build this other person up, and then set up for the failure for one, and then, you know, all of that stuff. Fun stuff that will make all of the Aiden lovers mad, which, as I'm not an Aiden lover, I don't care. So, yeah, that was my, I comment a lot, I'm commenting on the romance in Pure a lot, because that really was the first 50% of the book was pretty much romance, or kind of like teenage angst romance kind of thing. And then the rest of the book was about the politics, about the character needing character development, and starting to show it, and then kind of reverting back to where she was before, because, you know, honestly, I love the portrayal of some of the antagonists in here. Like, you know, the antagonists too, obviously, they're not the bad guys, but they're antagonists, and you just, you know, that guy was a douchebag, and you could really tell he was a douchebag, and that, like, when she gets away from the romance, she does a really good job at portraying things that need to be portrayed in the correct way, and that's great. I want to see more of that. I'm hoping I'm going to see more of that in Deity. I really hope I see more of that in Deity. That would just make me happy. Anyway, so I'm going to give Pure 3.5 stars. I'm not going to give it a full 4-star, mostly because part of the problem is that part of the reason why I did kind of stop reading it was because of the romance in there and the oversaturation of teenage angst. But I still like the book, and I still finished the novel feeling satisfied and ready to, like, jump into Deity. And I have higher expectations. I always set the bar just a little bit higher, because everybody gets better with each book they write. Sarah J. Maas is a very huge example of that. Anyway, so I'm hoping for good things. Jennifer L Armentrout, you know, not the worst author in the world. You know, that's what they call practice. Anyway, toodles.